What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. Brian the Divine Healer here with you outside live. That's right. What a beautiful day. So come on, grab your phones, get outside, come chat, right? Let's just chat some things up here a little bit, right? Yeah, what a great day today. I'm loving it, right? So just wanted to hit up a few things, you know what I mean? Because just I was in the spirit of it, right? So, one thing I want to kind of point out is where did all the niceness go in the world, right? It's so crazy, right, to walk around and you're all like, hey, hi, what's going on? You open the door for somebody, things like that, and people just look at you like you have five heads. And I'm like, what? You can't say hi back? You can't be nice? Like, whatever happened to that? Like, just the friendliness of everything is gone to shit, right? I mean, I moved in here. My neighbor was cool. He was like, hey, what's going on, neighbor? And I was like, oh my god, am I in a parallel universe? Come on, watch out. Come on. You. Here's my baby. Right. And I was like, what the hell? And I got cookies and stuff. See, that's the niceness we love. Okay. Yeah. It's like, what? People walk around like zombies. They got their head down, and they're like, I don't. They don't even like. They don't even see you existing. I don't know if it's because they're in their own world or just medicated out, something like that. But it's like, oh my god, it's just like a land of zombies, straight up a land of zombies, and it boggles my mind, right? And sometimes I have those days where I'm like, you know what? How would you like it if I don't say hi to you, or if I'm not nice to you? But I can never be that way because that's just not me. That's just not who I am. And to me, I don't get it. I don't understand. And like I said, I feel that people either, yeah, you made it. Great. Happy birthday to you. Right? What a beautiful day, right? Yeah, I'm loving it. I hope you're having a great day, right? It's fantastic. I was surprised by the weather, though. Holy crap. It's a little warm out, but hey, I'll take it. Almost warm enough to go swim in, but that pool is cold, so I don't think so. Right? So yeah, I was like, okay, because I try to be nice to everybody. You know what I mean? It's not on purpose. It's just who I am. You're welcome, darling. You're welcome. I hope it's the best 21st birthday you've ever had. Right. Yeah. So it's not like a fake thing or anything like that, but wouldn't you just think that people would just like get that feeling and it would be rubbed off? You walk in, you say hi. I mean, one thing I do gotta say, I go to Walmart and I'll do have the greeter, right? The greeter will say hi, but nine chances out of 10, that greeter is really, really old or like handicapped or disabled. You know what I'm saying? So it's in their spirit naturally to be like hi. You know what I mean? Because that's just how they are. They don't see that other side of people, right? Because they're looking at their hearts. That's just how I see it. And it's all over the world. I mean, I can't say that everybody is like that, but for a lot of people that I've run into on a daily, even the routine people, you go into the store, you get your coffee, you're like, hey, and they'll just kind of turn their heads like you don't exist. And I'm like scratching my head, like, what the hell's going on here, right? So it doesn't never stop me. I'll say hi, I'll get in your face, like, hey, what's up? And I'll almost make you kind of draw that, right? Because then hopefully you'll turn it around to somebody else and give that, hey, how you doing? I don't care what kind of day you have. For one, it's friggin' respect. You know what I'm saying? If someone's gonna say hi to you, you better kind of say it back. You're gonna wave, they're gonna wave, shit like that. And it's far few in between these days. Yeah, so we're all important in our own kind of ways, but you're just as important as I am, right? There's no difference. But it's just I don't know if it's the way people were brought up. Maybe it's just the world that we live in now is, just so cold that people just are so to themselves, about themselves. I don't really know. But it disturbs me. Because I remember growing up, right, in the 80s. I mean, I was born in the 70s, but most of my remembrance of actually interacting with people was during the 80s. And it was like, it was a whole different generation. It was a whole different era. I mean, you wore no seatbelts. Your mother was smoking, flicking the ashes, and was smacking the eyeballs. You could smoke in the hospitals. People would be saying hi, holding the doors for you, even like helping old ladies across the street, right? Salvation Army stuff, soup kitchen stuff, right? When I was 18, I had a job. I was working as commission on the phones, right? Thank you. It starts at home. It for surely does. And I was on the phones, like doing commissions, trying to raise money for the local police department to get their bulletproof vests. And at lunchtime, you know what I did? I didn't bother to eat. I went down the street a little bit because I lived in the hood. Like you think I'm all like, ooh, look at this white and towel guy, right? Nah, man, I lived in the bricks, right? I lived in the bricks, selling pizzas for $5 in the bricks. It's rough, right? The only white kid walking around at night is right, a little scary. But back then it was different because it was a different way, it was a different thing. So I would go on my lunch break to a soup kitchen and I would serve food to the homeless. You know what I mean? And we don't have that kind of, uh, well, we do, but it's not as much. It's not as much, right? He was born the same way. I love that idea. And that's why we stick together as our little soul tribe, right? Yeah, that's fantastic. But for me, I try to promote that, right? I kind of don't like to put myself up too much because I can be walking in Walmart, picking out my groceries or something, and then just some random weirdo, as in a weirdo, as in just approaching you and starts having a conversation about anything and everything just because they feel that comfortable with you. That used to be back in the day. Neighbors helping neighbors, they were looking out for each other. Now it's all like, ooh, let me just hoard my stuff and keep it to myself and screw everybody else. But without you, I mean, how far can I get? Without me, how far can you get, right? Especially when you got to work together. You know what I mean? When you're doing a job together, you don't know how to put the computer paper in the printer, but your buddy does, right? So what do you got to do? You got to go over to that person because it's your job to fill that printer paper up. But so you got to be like, hey, buddy, like, can you help me out here? And that kind of camaraderie just seems to go away. It just disappeared off the face of this earth. And that troubles me. And that troubles me. Not, I mean, not for myself, because I've already been through that. I'm already living through it. I'm already in the best ages of my life right now. But it's for the kids. It's for my children. It's for your children. Like they're all walking around with their phones in the face. I try to talk to my younger one. She's all right, wrapped up with half watching a movie with me, but half on the phone, FaceTime and whatever with their friend. And it's like, is that the brainwashing? Is that what's actually making people separate from each other? This distraction of the interactions of the convenience that we have to talk to each other? Because there still should be niceness there, right? I would think. Could it be the electromagnetic waves and the radiation that makes things wacko? Probably, right? Right? But, I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna start like a campaign, right? I'm gonna do some thinking about it, right? It's just a thinking process, right? And I've seen a lot of these videos where people, they want to get famous, and so they run out with $500, and they're like, hey, if you sit down here and you say hi to me, I'll give you $100. I'm not into bribing anybody like that, right? I want to catch people in their real reactions. So I just want to go out and just maybe do like a survey, but a live video survey, and just go up to random people and be like, hey, how you doing, right? And just catch their reactions. Because then you're going to really see what I'm talking about. Because you'll see people turn their heads or, I don't want to talk. Whoa, I don't know. Like, you're coming up to them like you're some kind of criminal. I don't think so. So, I want to break those barriers. I want to break those down and be like, Hey, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but what is stopping us from knowing each other, right? There are, like I said, there are some good people in this world that do show those things, right? My neighbor gave me some cookies. My other neighbor's like, hey, we're doing this little, I watch your house, you watch mine. Because I ran over the other day when I had this creepy stalker walk up and down the street and was like, hey, bub, did you happen to know this freak? And he's like, no, but now I will watch out for that. Because we do need each other. And you're exactly right. Because even back in the beginning with the Bible, Adam and Eve, Adam was by himself. By himself, and he was crying out, God, this is just like, what? I need somebody else. And God said, okay, I'm going to put you to sleep. Pull a rib. Now here's your partner. Here's your bride, right? A companion. So we always have that need for companionship because all throughout civilization, we've had groups and tribes, people that were coming together, families coming together, even though they didn't know it. You got your your family-in-law, right? You gotta have dinner with them, right? Birthdays, Christmases, whatever you guys celebrate, because you know kids gonna come up to my house for Halloween and they want trick or treat. Well, there's gonna be a couple bags of poop on the, on the patio, not because of the kids, but it's because of what Halloween represents, right? And it's just bogus, right? So that kind of mixture has been lost. How did it get lost? I don't know. I don't know. It could be a whole bunch of things that I could just guess about, but to me, it's sad because that's what's making this world a harder place to live in, right? It seriously is. Because I don't know you and you don't know me. But here we are conversating like we do. And how hard is it for you to be throwing comments out as I'm chatting like we're in person? We need to bring that to everybody, right? I'm not trying to say now we're going to be in laws and shit, right? But it's that energy. It's that draw of, oh my God, it's that law of attraction. You're a nice person. Now I'm interacting with you. So in some way, it's going to defeat the issues I may be having in the day for myself and bring that niceness out from me to now in turn bring it to somebody else. You know what I mean? I walk my dog all the time. And the neighbor's sitting out there on their porches and I'm walking by and I'm like, hey. And they're like, did you hear something, Margaret? I'm like, I can't. You almost make me feel invisible. But it's just, you're a turd. And it's a shame. Because I don't want to have to think of you as a turd. Because you're probably not. But the way that you're going to act and give me that first impression, that's on you, Bo. You know what I mean? Whew. Whew. I don't, it really, it needs to change. Because, like I said, back in the day, it was different. It was the way where people didn't have a problem to reach out to other people and be like, you need a hand? You know? So we lost that. And I want to see if I can bring that back somehow. Right? Because I've gone into places like Subway and was like, hey, is your manager here? And they're like, yeah. I was like, okay, I'm doing a little YouTube thing. Like, let me ask you some questions about how do you feel about people lying. And they're like, oh. And they're like, okay. Right? Because it's the energy that I'm giving off. Right? And so that makes them feel a little more comfortable to know that maybe they can open up to you. Right? So if everybody's all protected and like got their armor on and they're ready for a fight, no one's going to want to budge. But we need the icebreakers, right? So I'm the USS icebreaker over here, busting through those things because that's what's going to change the world. Little things like that. Respect for one, right? Like I said, it's respect. And for two, it's cracking somebody's shell. Because everybody's living in that shell, living in that bubble. And it's way too much. It's too much, right? So I got a nice little fine divine family over here, right? Even though sometimes I question the loyalty because I'm not seeing the results. I should be having more views and all this, but that's a whole nother subject. And I'm not coming on anybody specifically, but uh, I start to boil it down to other things and other entities that have been really interfering on that kind of connection. Okay, true. So I don't hold that against you guys, even though I think, with the thousands of members and subscribers that I have, y'all should be participating, right? Which I think majority of you are. And it's just a little bit of that whole fight that I got going on with the tube, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to have to bring out my shit kicking boots, but I will and I have, because you know why? It's about respect, the injustice, and the truth of things. If I'm busting my ass and there's a contract saying I'm supposed to be getting paid for a certain amount and I ain't getting it, is that the truth? No. Do I feel slighted because I'm busting my butt? Not for the tube, but for y'all? No. It's just, I gotta find those ways of what is the truth, right? Same thing why people don't want to talk and want to have a nice chit chat, say hi or whatever, because they might be having a bad day. And it just would take that one person to say hi, to crack somebody's shell, to be like, okay, now I'm going to open up and release that energy, because now you're not part of my bad day. You're actually helping me somewhat through my bad day. So then I can release that energy, and now you can get to your true self. Because with all the things we got with our jobs and our families, our pets, the struggle with the economies, the tic tac toe in the sky. I don't know if y'all seen that one, but that was great, man. We had all these trails in the sky this morning, and I was like, you know what, this is so hilarious. I'm gonna do a little tic tac toe. And I made X's in the sky and shit. I love it. And it's like, hey, sometimes you gotta just let go. Human services, community outreach. I love that. You have a lot of folks that cannot read, although, really, yeah, I do have like those closed captions on so they can read the subtitles, but also have that audio on. You know what I mean? So, any way that I can help that way, that's what I really try to do. I haven't quite how to turn on the captions in the live, other than they're already on pre-programmed when I started the channel. So if you guys don't have those closed captions turned on your TVs, on your phones, then that's up to you. But everybody needs to do their part. Everybody needs to do their part, because we're all a group. We're all a society. We all live in this ball together. Okay? And when one person's having a bad day, you don't think it's going to affect another person. Of course it does. And then another person that had nothing to do with that other shit goes home and they have an attitude, but they don't know why. Because they heard Johnny Rotten over there ragging about a whole bunch of stuff. So that energy gets transferred over to them. Then they go home and they start ragging on their families and all this other stuff. And it just escalates and it builds and gets bigger. And we gotta stop. We gotta stop. Because I know there are nice people out there that are just hidden, secluded. They're wrapping it up and guarding it. Hey, I've been stomped on. I've been hurt. I've been disrespected. I've been ruthlessly pursued and harassment and all this other stuff. Throwing my dirt and my name in the dirt. Is that going to change me to be like, now I can't be nice to the next person when whatever this person's doing to me has no effect on how I should treat this person? Exactly. Hey, sunshine, exactly. Thank you, 100%. 100%. Right? So it is kind of like a chain reaction, right? Granted, hey, I understand you might be having a pissy day. We all do. You're entitled to it. But keep your piss to yourself, because I'm not going to be drinking it for one and for two. Ew. So if you can crack that shell and be like, hey, it's going to be okay, or just a hi, or holding the door for somebody, waving, that might be just enough to crack that shell, right? It's crazy. It's super crazy. And it's not like I'm trying to be a hero and save everybody. No. I'm not trying to influence anybody neither. I'm only trying to inspire. inspired to the real, true character of who we truly are inside. We just, most people have all this darkness that just clouds them up and holds them in that angst. And it's unnecessary because they don't know how to release it other than projecting it, right? And I'm sick of the way the things are being projected nowadays. Oh, I don't even want to go and talk about other social media platforms. Disgusting you know. I mean, I have to endure going on those things because I'm trying to promote my channel here so everybody gets a taste and a sense of what's going on, right? And it's just makes me. I mean, I wanted to cancel my Facebook so many different times. One, because that punk ass turd was on some stupid island over there where they were hurting kids, right? Do you think I want to be associated with that shit? Hell no. But there's other people that need to be reached, that need that high, that need that niceness. So yeah, I put my chin up a little bit, kind of scuff that off, and still throw some shit out there for other people to try to, crack their shell, you know. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I can't let that stop me to think that it's always going to fail. The percentage could be way off. It could be a 70-30 percentage where I might reach 30 people out of 100. But I bet you this, those 30 people, they're going to go to another 10 people and be like, yo, this guy's crazy nice. Well, I mean, what's going on? Like, check it out. I don't know, but then we got 10 of those people. Only 5 resonate, so they come over, and then only 3 of those resonate. So then I got 3 people out of the original 10. So I gotta at least keep trying, right? So we always gotta keep trying, not only for yourself but for other people. Because when things really go south, you can only depend on yourself so much to take you so far. And that's going to be a real horrific sight. It's bad enough now, but things go south, it's going to be 10 times worse. And that's not anything that we want, period, point blank. So people need to buck up. Keep your shit at home. Like when you go to work, you don't take your personal life to work. Because that's just going to what? Affect your work. Same thing. Sometimes you got to just keep smiling, saying hello, right? I whistle. I got, right, Diva? I go up in the store, and I'm like, and people are like, what the hell's wrong with that guy? And I'm like, hey, I had a shitty day, but I'm outside, and now everything's great. So we can change our moods just like that. It just depends on your perception and what you're seeing, right? So true. And it's weird because it's so catchy and it's so easy to do. I mean, projecting is the easy rub off. So then when people don't catch that same vibe, it's like, it makes me wonder, like, how much shit are you really dealing with? You know? Because I, my friends, can lay a whole see this whole back thing? Man, I don't have enough permanent marker paint to write the stories of what I've been through. To not be in that mode of screw life. Because I'm out whistling Dixie, having fun, walking my dog, saying hi to everybody. Because I don't need to project my problems on other people. I only need to maybe get to crack that shell so then we can have a conversation. And if they went through some of the same things I did, well, then maybe now we can come to a solution because you probably figured yours out as well as I have. And so now we can bring it to somebody else and say, well, if you don't know, I know, and this person knows. So when you put those two heads together, bam. Oh, you're going to dinner? Enjoy it. Love you. Appreciate for coming out. Enjoy your birthday dinner. See you again. Yeah. Wow. It's great. Birthdays are great. There was a saying that I seen scrolling somewhere on the social medias, and it was Prince. He was like, I think it was Johnny Carson, maybe not Johnny Carson, David Letterman or something like that, right? And they were talking about birthdays, right? And so the question was, I think, something about uh, Prince, do you celebrate your birthdays? And Prince was like, I kind of, I kind of really related with Prince because he's so logical, right? Takes the emotions right out of everything, right? So it was like this. He said, birthdays. He goes, let me ask you this: how many, how many times were you birthed? Once, right? So you were only born once. So that is your birthday, right? So Prince said, hey, I don't celebrate birthdays because I was only born once. And so for by that meaning, I don't have to track time, because when you track that time, you get older. And so then if he's not tracking that time, he's now free from time. Now time isn't going to age him, and he looks like 10 years younger than he does. And I was like, oh snap, that's so true. So true, right? But when I learned some things, right? Your personal new year. Well, I like that. That's a good way of turning some things around and making it a little different, right? Right. But to me, when I learned some things about how God wants us to be, if Jesus can say, like, don't worship me, you should be worship only the Father, I took that very seriously. I mean, to the point where I don't celebrate my birthdays. Like, I don't remember last time I had a celebration for my birthday, right? I always make myself a dinner or something, like whatever, but that's on the daily, so that's nothing special. I don't buy myself presents. I don't get any gifts, So there's no special meaning for it, which really brings it down to the point of I don't idolize myself by having to celebrate myself in those ways. Because the only one that I should be giving that celebration and recognition to is God. Plain and simple. And the other holidays, well, I've made a bunch of videos about how I feel about that. Like Christmas is only celebrating the winter equinox, the winter season, right? And that's a pagan holiday. Same with the holiday of this one coming up for Halloween. And I walk up and down the streets and I see everybody with their stuff decorated with all these ghouls, and goblins, and yada, yada, yada. And then I just think in my head, how naive are you? How naive are you people to understand, or the lack of understanding, of what you're actually inviting to your safe place, to your home, to your private Idaho? Stop. It's all in the history. It's all pagan rituals, right? So I lost that idea a few years ago, right? I'm glad that you don't. That's awesome, Sunshine. You shouldn't, because it's totally forbidden. It really is. It's blasphemy, right? It's going against God, and it's not cool in one way at all, right? Now, we're all born of sin. We are. We do sin things, right? I mean, people drink, smoke, swear, whatever you want to think is a sin. Fine, that's right, because we all have our opinions on what sins are, right? But I think that really it's based on your intent through your heart. Yeah. So if you're having one of those crummy days and you run around to people and you intentionally hurt them on purpose, just to try to get rid of that energy so you can feel better, well, that's really in your heart. That doesn't fly. Yeah, that's how we're judged, by our hearts. So I try not to take it too personal when people, don't say nice things, or even give you that gratification of recognition by saying, hey, I let it go. I let it go. And then I'll just go on to the next person that I pass by and say, hi, how you doing? You know? And like I said, One person out of that store is gonna say hi. It got to the point. It got to the point so much that I would go in, and like all the people that worked there. I mean, I didn't think I, visited that store that much, but it was like the manager was like, "Hi, how's it going?" The bagger, "How's your day going?" La, la, la. Even before I could start, right? And I was like, "Wow." So this place is catching on. And then I could hear through the people, through their conversations, when they're standing in line, inconspicuously, other people start chatting it up a little bit. So not everybody's so standing on the grocery carts like, right? Because that energy collects and it builds and it draws and it spreads and it spreads ugly, right? So then even with nice people, they will get corrupted in that same way. So then they'll stop being nice and then they'll go in their shells. And that's all that they want. The devil wants to seclude you away from other people. Why? So we can't spread the love of God. That's right. Because you, my friend, and I are most vulnerable alone. Alone. True story. And that's when he can start digging in your head, confusing you, making you think things that aren't true, taking a little bit of that truth and twisting it with the lies. Don't forget, he is the father of lies. So just because someone's not being nice to you in that moment doesn't mean they're not nice. That's the trick. That's the deception. That's what I can see through. Bust it right open. And go around to have that energy to be whistling in the store, da 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 da. So everybody knows I'm carrying that positive energy. So without me speaking a word to them, it's already cracking their shell, and now they can open up. And it took a little bit of practice because I was like, oh, ooh, these cringy people outside. The energy is just too strong. And it's like, oh my God, I don't want to deal. But I couldn't be that hermit forever. I had to break out of my own shell that way and say, listen, I'm needed somewhere. Whether it's my own self to go to the store or just to run into somebody that's going to talk to me for about 30 minutes in the store and I really don't even know this person from Adam, I'll sit there and listen and talk to him. Because for me, I think that everything happens for a reason. So if this person came up to me for some reason to have the cojones to say something and start really talking intimate about his personal life with his grandmother and all these weird things, and um, I'm not even going to get into the story about what he was really talking about, but it was enough for me to be in the right place at the right time for whatever reason that I had no idea. But it was just enough for this person to be able to, let go. And sometimes we do have to be careful because there are people like that do that shit on purpose. Every little nagging thing they got on their life, they want to just drop on you. Okay? We can handle so much of that. But I'm not your keeper to be responsible of your deeds that you have to deal with on your own emotional level. Not on a regular basis. Not for every single thing. Right? Because I'm going to be like, what are you kind of doing for me? Are you going to sit here and hear my stories and support me in this kind of way? Probably just for 5 minutes. But you expect me to do it for 45 to an hour, 5 days, a year? Ooh, we can't do that. Because now we're being narcissistic. And those kind of people that are those type that do things on purpose like that, those people worry me. Those people are dangerous. Those people have cold hearts. But it's really, I feel sad for them because I've learned a lot about what that is. Hello, Mr. Ben. What do I think about genocide committed in Israel and us? I'm kind of mixed on that fence a little bit because, for one, If you remember the story in the Bible about David and Goliath, David was an Israelite, correct? And Goliath was a Palestinian, right? So there was a natural conflict between them back in ancient days. And as far as I understood some of the history, there's different lineages of said groups, the Israelites and the Palestinians. Okay, so tracking the Palestinians, if Goliath was a giant, and his brothers were a giant, that would tell me that there was a part of them that were associated with what the Bible calls the Nephilim, the giants of those days and now. I mean, look at Shaquille O'Neal, right? That guy's a giant. A giant. So to me, that's still running rampant through the bloodlines. So there is always going to be that natural good versus evil. Now, it depends on, like Sunshine said, the propaganda, right? I just watched some part of the news where there was somebody over in Europe, I don't know, prime minister, somebody, whatever. I didn't catch all the facts, just kind of caught it quick that this person was in support of Israel and was attacking Palestinians, I should say, right? Well, we'll get into the occupation in a minute. I mean, I think that was totally unfair how they did that occupation part of taking land from somebody and giving it to somebody else. Kind of like what we did for ourselves with the Native American Indians, right? Not cool. But this person was divided with being on a front of supporting Israel, but attacking the Palestinians, but then turning around and giving the Palestinians like 10 million liras or euros or something, foreign money, whatever. I don't know. So to me, it was automatically hypocritical. So I kind of think that it's a kind of intentional thing from both sides. For what Hamas is doing to innocent people, or what they have done already, bullshit. You don't hurt little kids. Hell no, I don't give a shit who you are. Those people don't. Those little kids don't know any different. And you're gonna be a murderous person like that and hold their lives accountable for somebody else's problems? Right, exactly. You can't judge the whole collection based off a bad apple. True that, my friend. And you know what the bad apple is? It's the bad belief systems. Who's right, who's wrong, who's Nephilim, who's not, who's David, who's Goliath. History has twisted us up so much that we don't even know really what true history is anymore. Because I tell you, Christopher Columbus was not the first person to discover America. Hell no. Because the Chinese were here, the Vikings were here, it goes on and on. And so if history's not changed, then we're doomed to repeat it. The occupation part is different because now we're talking about switching up that land. And I understand the Jews need to be placed in a land for their own, right? But to be bullied out of the land that you have, to split with people that you really don't get along with, well, that seems like to me that was a whole intentional, purposely set up thing. Like that dude, I support Israel, but I'm attacking Palestinians, but I'm going to give Palestinians money. You can't play both sides of the fence. So the whole occupational part was just that exactly, right? So that kind of brings me to this point of America's problem with the border, right? If you look at other countries, damn, aren't their borders locked tight? I mean, you've seen Israel's border, right? Locked tight. Tight! Kind of like the bricks in between each block of the pyramids. You probably can't even get a piece of paper through that tight. So if there's huge problems with divisions of land, because, dude, there's a whole bunch of land on this earth that's not even occupied, straight up. We could resettle these people on a different land. For one, for two, we could just say, hey, we knew that putting you two right next to each other was going to instigate each other. My bad. Own up to that, because that's what we did. We would say, whoosh, this is for you and this is for you. Who was us to do that for them? For either side. Totally wrong. So we instilled and perpetuated and made it worse for the beliefs of the differences that they could not agree to by being so next to each other. So if we owned up and said, yeah, sorry, we kind of did that to y'all, that would change the way that now they see each other, because it's not one putting more on another, suppressing another. It was an outside influence that put those two against each other on purpose. That's going to change the belief system. That might make more friendly neighbors. And for the border that we got here, we're having all this problem of the influx of people coming into the United States. Well, that's a problem because there's a lot of spaces that are already taken up. But there's also a lot of shit ton of land here that no one's even been walking on. But if we split that decision and say, well, let's go down to your way. So instead of all your people coming up here, we'll go down there. We'll hook some things up. We'll build some hotels, some Walmarts, and if you want to live the American way, we can split the border and have none, but collaborate together so that way we're all one. Oh, well, yeah. They're scared because it goes way back. It goes way back in history. It's been brutal for those people. It wouldn't destroy our economy necessarily, I don't think, because if we're going to have expanded land territory, well, now we have more opportunity to build things. So now we're going to give people jobs to go build hotels and Walmarts, gas stations, and 7-Elevens and things like that. So then we're going to stimulate that economy because we're going to be generating more opportunity to bring in the money for more people, right? Because you gotta have some money to spend money, and oil is the black gold, right? But there's a ton of black gold here in the United States too. Ton of black gold in Alaska. So some of this is leverage. Some of this is just leverage, right? It's a lot of leverage going on, right? And it's kind of defeating. It is. Well, because what were they going to do? I mean, how were they going to really try to influence them to take over? I mean, it was very difficult. Well, I mean, I would think oil is hard to extract, period. Right? I really do. But can we not find a different way to use something but oil? Like, seriously. If we could spend millions and millions and billions and trillions of dollars to what? Use this technology for AI, transform lives better, like we're doing now, right? Telecommunications, videos, you name it. Everything's all express now, right? We have alternative means to change that so we're not relying on oil. So when people want to hold on to those things, they know that change isn't coming. So that is hoarding what you know is valuable. Valuable. So now it's like you're holding it hostage a little bit, right? Now you're kind of being in your ego because now you're driven by the money that you could profit off of this resource. But is it really your resource or is it Mother Earth, right? Case in point, some places in Texas, some places in land over here, you buy property, right? They have specific clauses that say, well, if you're in a mining kind of region where you're going to find a whole bunch of minerals, well, you're not entitled to those mineral rights. So if you dig up your land and you find fat ass crystals and gems in your yard, well, guess what? They're not yours. Oh, what you talk about, Willis? I think not. That's why I write that clause in my shit. Be like, I got mineral rights because I found a whole bunch of good chunks of crystals out here. Right. But technically, it's not really mine. It's Mother Earth. So the land that we're on, that we have to pay for, is crookedly assigned and manipulated and thwarted. All for what? The value of the resource of the dollar. And it's just a piece of paper. Just a friggin', it's like this leaf. That's what your money is. Seriously. Well, the U.S. can't follow their own advice because they're giving two different kind of advices out to two different people. It's like seriously, like for one, like Ukraine, right? What business is of ours to step in Ukraine? Sure, we can be humanitarians, but we shouldn't be pumping billions and billions of dollars over to them because why? We're making it look to Russia like we're helping the Ukrainians in the war. Is that not perpetually perpetrated and orchestrated for specific reason to challenge the belief of what is the fact? Now we got to support Israel, right? Now we're supporting Ukraine and Israel. But guess what? You know how much chicken is a family pack of chicken at Walmart? 18 bucks. 18 bucks. Exactly. They're doing the same thing, right? Because it's all about this control, this money control. Money controls the world and all that, right? I say we ban and get the hell out of the feds, get the Federal Reserve out of the United States. Because you know what? The United States is not even a government. It's a corporation. It is incorporated back in, I think it was like 1950, maybe, I want to say. Fact check me, please. I'm not exactly sure because I didn't write it down. But we decided to become an incorporation. And actually, I think it's the Secretary of the Treasury in Puerto Rico is the one that controls everything because that's where the IRS is really based out of. Don't let me keep going on there. So it's just the means of control of checks and balances, right? They want to put you in check so they can balance themselves, right? So it's a long fight, and it's going to be a hard one because there's going to be a lot of different people that are stuck on that greed, that money, like ooh, it's my oil, right? Well, technically it's not, but where are you in your heart to say, well, this oil could be helping a lot of different people, right? My profession is a military, ex-military person, ex-military, criminal justice degree, philanthropist, artist, inspirer instead of, you know, YouTube influencer, right? Yeah. I do a lot of research and a lot of facts and a lot of studying. Brainwashing, I really think so, homie, because I'm the one putting people in check with the facts. True that. I just try to not cross the line so much because the belief systems is what clashes. True that. And the Federal Reserve is part of the United States government as only a part of the government to help the little banks offset some of their big loans that they couldn't take on. And that's why back in those days, the bank system was going corrupt before the Federal Reserve came into power. The Federal Reserve is just a giant Ponzi scheme. Check this out. You get paid your taxes, right? You get paid your paycheck. Boom. Oh, yes, I am aware. Thank you. Well, that's a good point, my friend. That is a really good point. If I kind of knew now what I didn't know then about the military, my free will probably said no. Okay. I was kind of torn on the fence anyways, but my understanding was that it wasn't my choice. It wasn't the government's choice to hire me. It wasn't anybody's choice but God to put me in a situation that I had a purpose for. Right. Because I did save lives out there. Not only my own, but a whole bunch of others. Right. And I changed a lot of things. Changed a lot of things. Some of the things that I implemented back in the day to become rule when I was working still is in effect. So the influence that I had on the military was for a very specific reason that I didn't know and I wasn't aware of. Now, to understand the corruption that was going on and why we really went over there in the first place, I'm not about that. So even though I was associated, I'm not feeling the guilt by that association because it wasn't my gig. I didn't know what the deal was. And if I did, like I do, and I had, well, then I had a choice to do something about it. And that's when I got out of the service. Because I'm not going to put my hands on that. I did. I went to Iraq twice. I went to southern Baghdad, and that's Ur, the city of Ur, where the ziggurat is. Right. And, some people call that the Tower of Babel, but it was definitely down where the Euphrates almost meets the Tigris, because I crossed both of those rivers. It was pretty amazing. I went in Saddam's palace, and I was pretty disgusted about how he totally capitalized on all his people so he could live high off the hog. Pretty disgusting. Right. So a lot of that did kind of change the way I seen things as far as the corruption of things, yes. But then I had to do my facts to find out what the corruption was really about because we do get the two sides of our story coming out, the two different sides of their mouths, right? Well, yeah, he was an evil person, but it's the weirdest thing. He kept that whole area in check. He kept that whole area in check. I mean, you didn't have ISIS, you didn't have all these, things we got now going on. He kept it down. So it just depends on the facts about how bad of a person he was, because I knew that he was a bad person because I've seen the evil that he did. I've seen the evil that he's done, and his sons, what they've done. And the crimes against people, I mean, his own people, was absolutely disgusting. Like, I'd be walking down the street, and then people, they would tell me, they'd be like, you know what? Iraq was like Hollywood back in the 30s. People could just walk down the street, go to the cinema, have ice creams, and just live their lives like normal people. And then certain powers to be came in place, and they had their dictatorship. And now little girls are getting picked up off the side of the road and done whatever to, and off to whatever, and it's just disgusting, right? So yeah, um, but it took us a long time to finally realize what that evil was to really dismantle it, get rid of it. So now we're trading one evil for another, you know? Because during that time, during that Iraqi war from '03 to '07, the Egyptian Museum, the Iraqi Museum, they all got pillaged. And all very important artifacts relating to history were taken. Not by military people, exactly. Two wrongs don't make it right. And that's what the facts are going to be like, is who is going to be right. And the truth only tells that. Right? So the truth only tells the facts to show who's right, who's wrong. Plain and simple. Because there is always going to be that two-sided deal. Just like, are the Saudis right for hogging the oil? Well, it's their land technically, but technically, is it their land? Only by occupation, right? Because Mother Earth owns it. True that. So what's wrong in that situation? Who's right in that situation? It just depends on what you look at and how you're seeing it, right? And the only way to see it correctly is seeing the truth. And those truths are through facts. So yes, when we have our belief systems, it does change a lot of things because there are people that believe what they're fighting for is absolutely right. Like, I've watched the Palestinians, and I have nothing wrong with these Palestinian people or the Israelis. I really don't. But to sit there and protest about knowing that Hamas had done the atrocities that they've done to the hostages, but finally got it right and decided to get rid of some hostages, well, I don't think those people should have been protesting as hard as they should have if they known those atrocities that really happening. So you're kind of sticking up for the enemy that really did those bad things. Now, can I say that Hamas was part of Iran? Of course it was, because it's part of the Brotherhood. Who started the Brotherhood? The Iranians, right? Who gave the Iranians about $60 billion? The United States of America. So now who perpetuated what? Did we give Iran this money just so then it was a decoy of, oh, they're going to build their nuclear arsenals when they were really pumping that money to Hamas to attack Israeli when Israeli was really our allies? I don't know. Such a twisted game. Well, they're not friends, but they're part of the Brotherhood. So I guess Iran started the Brotherhood, which is a spinoff of the Hamas, kind of under the same belief systems, right? And I don't care who you are. You're not allowed to kill anybody. Not for Allah, not for being jihadist, not for being a communist terrorist in China. I don't care. It's all wrong. And when are you going to do people dirty like that? I got no respect for that. And God doesn't either. Because there's only one God. There's only one. So everybody can believe their own opinions about how they see God. But you all forget that God confuses on purpose. He mixed up all our tongues, sent us off in different regions. That's where it all came from. So now it's a battle of ego. Was a place in the United States, the world would be closest to perfect if Iran was where the United States is. I don't know. I don't know about the Ayatollah Khomeini. I haven't done a lot of research on Iran, but I don't think they're that. You know. Now, if you want to talk about almost near perfect, Omar Gaddafi. I think he was the Libyan president, maybe. Libyan president. He's the one that was like, listen, all for one and one for all. Y'all gonna have health insurance. Y'all gonna all have this. Y'all gonna have that, right? And just made this country where everybody was damn near equal. There was no hostility between neighbors and all this because everybody had their own free chance to have just as much as somebody else, right? So he might have had an ego to want to perpetuate that leadership to, take over onto other countries or whatever, but he really proved it with his country. So if we're going to spin the facts on things, then it's going to be difficult to really understand where those facts are coming from. Are they coming from your belief systems? Are they coming from history? Are they coming from actual events that took place? That's where we're going to break it all down. You know what I mean? And I do enjoy these intimate conversations of opinions because I don't know most people on here from a hole in the wall, but I'm not going to bash them for their opinions. And I'm certainly not going to criticize them for that because I respect that idea that you could challenge the beliefs that I might know to as a me challenging the beliefs that you know based off my experiences and your experiences. And that's how it all's got to work. Hello, you're back. Love it. You know? So it's all how we got to get along, right? So if the idea is just about respect, then that goes a long way. I might not like what you say, but I got to respect the fact that you're saying it. Because if I want you to hear what I got to say, you got to allow me that respect too. You might not agree, because you might have different beliefs. But at least that conversation has to happen on that respect level. And there's a lot of days where that doesn't happen. Vibrational call. Oh, low vibrational call. Sorry about that. Well, yeah, because they kind of are trying to do that because my friend, like I said, the current president just chunked over like $60 million or something like that to Iran. Why? We still don't really know. We still really don't know, but then we're going to fear the public and say, ooh, well, Iran's now enriching the uranium, so now they're going to go in the nuclear war race. Come on, we have the CIA jumping their guerrilla tactics over there to start coups and all these other things to perpetuate this kind of fear. And that's all it is, my friend, is fear to keep you away from knowing the truth. Is this not a rock? Sure it is. But you might look at it and say, well, that's a crystal. Well, looks like we're both right. Because you're diving deeper into it than I would, because I'm just calling it a rock. Your opinion is digging it deeper by saying it's a crystal because that's what it's really made out of. To grow it into what we call as a rock. Too easy. Woo! It's getting warm out here. Yeah. So I think I'm going to leave it here for about an hour, right? My arms are getting all sweaty. My palms, leaves, and spaghetti on my shirt. I'm just kidding. Yeah, they're living tough, though. I mean, everybody's living tough, my friend. They really are. And it's unnecessary. We all want justice. I'm fighting for justice over here in the bullshit that we're dealing with in America, never mind just across the whole countries in the world. But all I can say for this for sure is that the one thing, the root of all this problem, which is the root of all evil, right there. Because when you don't have any money and you got to struggle to keep your family going and you got to grow your own vegetables and you got to do this without electricity and shit, well, guess what? You're a little humble. You're a lot humble. So then when you break it down to finally getting some of that money, well, you're not going to want to live it up because you're going to remember what it was like to not have it. And that's where the lesson needs to be. Well, I mean, I don't know. They sure took that money, so I don't know what they're actually fighting for. Are they fighting to be another China? To be the best? To think that they're inferior to everybody else? I don't know. I don't really know. But it's still no harm, no foul for me to say that I'm entitled to question those things because I need to know the facts and I need to know the rights. Right? Everybody's fighting evil. Everybody's fighting evil, my friend, because the devil is that evil. The devil is an all man that want to believe that there is no one true God, that never walk with God in their hearts, that never want to go to find God. Because some of them are so wrapped in their ego they think they're gods. That's what hurts. Because that's what's going to knock them down real quick on their ass. Because there's only one God. It ain't you, it ain't me. So, my friend, I appreciate that. I value your opinion. I appreciate your time. Tell your friends about my channel. Bring them on over, right? I'd love to have more of these kind of conversations so then we can learn each other and we can get a better understanding of really what the hell's going on in this world. Because there's just one common denominator, like I said, and that is that devil. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. You guys are amazing. I definitely will see you again. Peace and prayer, my friends. Don't forget, enjoy your day. Look, it's a beautiful day out, right? Get outside. Enjoy it if you can, right? Love you all. Talk to you again. Thanks.